This video is going to cover Chapter 8, Lesson 2, Law of Cosines. So this is actually a screenshot from your textbook. We're going to be using the law of cosines when we're given three sides or when we're given side angle side. So again, these were the different cases that I showed you in 8.1. So here, when you're given two sides and the included angle, meaning side angle side, this is going to be the steps that we're going to take. We're going to find the third side using the law of cosines, and then after that, we'll find the smaller of the two remaining angles using law of sines. And then we can find the last angle by adding the two angles we have and subtracting from 180. And then the other type of scenario that we have is when we're given three sides or side, side, side. So whenever we're given side, 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 we're going to first find the largest angle using law of cosines. So we'll be looking for the angle that's across from the largest side. And then from there, we'll find either of the two remaining angles by using the law of sines. When we use the law of sines, it's a lot easier. All we're doing is cross multiplying and dividing. The law of cosines, it's a little bit, it's a lot of work. So it's a lot easier after we do the law of cosines once, then to find the remaining missing pieces, we're going to use the law of sines. So here is the first example we're going to do, and the given information is side angle side. So we're given angle A, which I've already labeled. I'm given little b, or side length B, 12.9, and I'm given little c. Now, in the previous examples, we were always given the side that was across from the angle that was given. So as you can see, we're given a side, the included angle, and another side. So when this happens, we're going to be using the law of cosines. So the first thing that we need to try to find out is little a. So I'm going to be using this equation to find lowercase a. A squared is equal to b squared plus c squared minus 2 times b times c times the cosine of a. So let me go ahead and replace what I know. I do not know little a. That's what I'm solving for. Little b is 12.9. I'm going to square it. Little c is 15.4, and it gets squared. And then times 2 times b again times c times the cosine of a, which is 42.3. Now, notice that the letter that's first matches with the capital corresponding letter. So this would be a way that to help you memorize the formula. So let me go ahead and take out my calculator. For this particular case, I can do it directly in my calculator. So I would get a squared, and then I would square 12.9 plus 15.4 squared minus 2 times 12.9 times 15.4 times the cosine of 42.3. Once I key that in my calculator, I get 109.7. I don't want a squared, I want only a. So when I square root it, I get 10.47 meters. And again, this is rounded. So this will be little a, 10.47. All right, so now next, I'm going to use law of sines. But when I have the side angle side, after I've used law of cosines, I want to find the smaller of the two angles first. So what I can do is to figure out which one is the smaller angle, B or C, I'm going to look at the side length that's across from it. So I can see that angle B is across from the 12.9, which is smaller than the 15.4. Okay, so let me go ahead. I'm going to use law of sines to find angle B. So I'm going to do my given information, so 10.47, or what I just calculated, over the sine of 42.3 is equal to 12.9 over the sine of B. I'm going to cross multiply and divide. So I'm going to multiply the sine of B times 10.47 is equal to the sine of 42.3 times 12.9. In order to find sine of B, I need to divide both sides by 10.47. Divide both sides by 10.47. And now I have the sine of B is equal to, once I multiply and divide, I get 0.8292131255. Again, I'm looking for an angle measure, so I'm going to do sine -1, put this decimal in, hit enter, and angle B is equal to 56.01, so I'll round it to 56. Now to find angle C, all I need to do is add the other two angles that I have, 42.3 plus the 56, and then subtract that from 180. So 98.3, subtract it, 81.7. So angle C is equal to 81.7 degrees. So if you go back and label everything that you just found, angle A was given, 42.3. So here are your three angles, and then the three sides. We found little a at the beginning, and that was 10.47 meters. Little b was given to us, 12.9 meters, and little c was also given to us, 15.4 meters. So now we have all three angles and all three sides. So again, remember when you're doing the side angle side case, you're going to first find the side that's across from the angle that's given, and then from there, find the smaller of the two remaining angles. Our next triangle, notice we're given the three side lengths. So this is the side, side, side. Whenever you have side, 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 we're always going to find the largest angle first. And the way that we can tell which one is the largest angle is we're going to look at the size of the side lengths. So I can already see that my largest side is lowercase c, so I am going to be solving for angle C first. So in order to find C, I'm going to use this formula. So let me go ahead and plug in what I know. So I know the side across from angle C is the 21.1 squared. The side across from angle A is the 9.47. and the side across from angle B, or lowercase b, is 15.9, and then minus 2 times 9.47 times 15.9 times the cosine of c. Now, this time, I can't do it continuous in my calculator because what I'm solving for is cosine of c. So I could go ahead and I can do this step by step. Really what I'm trying to do here is first isolate this thing. So I could subtract 9.47 squared and subtract the 15.9 squared. So now I have 21.2 squared minus, and I'm doing this to both sides, to get this away from it. So now I have 9.47 squared minus 15.9 squared. And now that equals negative 2 times 9.47 times 15.9 times the cosine of c. So let me go ahead and simplify the yellow side. So I'm going to square each of these, square this, subtract this squared, and subtract this squared. Once I do all of that, I'm going to get 102.7191. Over here, I'm going to multiply negative 2 times 9.47 times 15.9. Once I do that, I get negative 301.146 times the cosine of c. Again, I'm trying to get cosine of c by itself, so I'm going to divide. That cancels, and now I'm left with negative 0.341094028 equals the cosine of c. Remember, when we're looking for an angle measure, I'm going to do cosine negative 1. I'm going to go ahead and put this in. 940288. I'm going to hit enter. So angle C is approximately equal to 109.9 degrees. Okay, so now that we've found the obtuse angle, now we can go back and find either of the other two acute angles. And I'm going to use law of sines to find those. So let's go ahead. We can find angle B. So I'm going to do 21.1 over the sine of 109.9 equals 15.9 over the sine of B. Now, if you would have rather, you could have also done the same 21.1 over the sine of 109.9, and then we could have also done this proportion to find A. So you can do either one. You don't necessarily have to do two law of sine equations, because once we find one of the acute angles, we can use our triangle sum theorem. So let me go ahead and finish up solving for angle B. So I'm going to go ahead and cross multiply here, and I get sine of B times 21.1 equals sine 109.9 times 15.9. Divide both sides by 21.1, and I get sine of B is equal to 0.70855,83516. Again, I'm looking for an angle measure, so sine negative 1, put this decimal, in the calculator, hit enter, and angle B is approximately equal to 45.1 degrees. Now, I don't need to go through the process of solving this one. To find my third angle, I can add 109.9, 45.1, add these up, and I can get 0, 15, 155, and then I can subtract that from 180, and my third angle, angle A, equals 25 degrees. Now, if I would have solved the proportion, if I would have solved this one first, I would have gotten the same answer either way. But it's a lot easier just to take the two angles, add them, and subtract from 180 than having to solve a proportion. So that was an example of one of each of the two different cases when you would have to use law of cosines first. Let me do another example when the given information is side angle side. So again, if a picture is not provided, go ahead and draw yourself a triangle and label the parts that are given. So notice in the blue, I've labeled my side angle side. So now I need to find the red pieces. I need to find angle A, angle B, and side length C. So again, the first thing I want to solve for is side length C. So I'm going to be doing C squared is equal to A squared plus B squared minus 2 times A times B times the cosine of C. So let's go ahead and plug in what we have. We don't know C squared. I know A is 4.21. I'm going to square it. I know B is 5.71. Plug it in again. 4.21, 5.71, and then the cosine of 28.3. Now, this is the case where you can just do it continuous in your calculator. If you prefer to write it down, you could write it down. 4.21 squared, 17.7241. This 5.71 squared, 32.6041. Multiplying these three pieces together gives me 48.0782. I still have cosine 28.3. And now I could add these two, multiply these two. 50.3282 minus 48. Let me go ahead and multiply. Okay, so once I multiply the cosine of 28.3 and 48.0782, I end up with 42.3317663. I'm going to subtract those, and I end up with 7.996433703. I'm going to square root both sides, and C is approximately equal to 2.827796616. Rounded, let's round it to the hundreds place, so 2.83 meters. Now, when we have the side angle side scenario, after we do the law of cosines, now I'm going to use law of sines, but I'm going to find the smaller angle first. So in order to determine if angle A or angle B is the smaller angle, again, I look at the sides across from them. So I can see that the smaller side is going to be little a, so I'm going to solve for angle A. So I'm going to do 4.21 over the sine of A is equal to 2.83 over the sine of B, which is going to be 28.3. I'm going to cross multiply and divide. So the sine of A times 2.83 equals the sine of 28.3 times 4.21. Divide both sides by 2.83. And now I have sine of A is equal to 0.70526,90318. Again, I'm looking for an angle measure. So I'm going to do sine -1. Hit enter. And I find that angle A is equal to 44.85. I'll round it to the tenths place, so 44.9. Now to find the third angle, I can just add the two that I already have. I have 28.3 and 44.9. I'm going to add those, get 73.2. Subtract that from 180. And I end up with 106.8, which is going to be angle B. So now I have angle A is 44.9. Angle B is 106.8. Angle C was given 28.3. Little a is 4.21 meters. Little b, 5.71 meters. And little c, I calculated 2.83 meters. So now I have all three sides and all three angles. So again, remember when you have the side angle side, you're going to do law of cosines first and then find the smaller angle second using law of sines. Let me do one more example given all three sides. So here we have the side, side, side scenario. And again, we're going to find the largest angle first. And the way that I can tell which one is the largest is I look at the side lengths. So I could see that angle C is across from the longest side, which is 325. So again, I'm going to use C squared is equal to A squared plus B squared minus 2 times A times B times the cosine of C. So let's replace what we know. So we know little c is 325. I'm going to square that. Little a is 189. Little b is 214. And now I'll multiply 2 times a times b times the cosine of c. So again, this is the one that you cannot do continuous in your calculator. So we could do it step by step, or remember we could move these two over. So we could do 325 squared minus 189 squared minus 214 squared is equal to -2 times 189 times 214 times the cosine of c. Let me go ahead and multiply this out. So square, 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 and then after I square them, I'm going to subtract. So then this is going to give me -24108. When I multiply these three, I'm going to get 80892 times the cosine of c. Actually, this is positive, this is the negative because of the -2. All right, so now to isolate cosine of C, I need to divide both sides. And then this gives me negative 0.298026999 equals cosine C. Again, to find angle C, I'm going to do cosine -1. Hit enter, and C, angle C, is approximately equal to 107.3. Now, to find the next angle, I can do law of cosines. And it doesn't matter which of the two acute I find first. So let me go ahead and find angle A. So I'm going to take my 325 over the sine of 107.3 is equal to 189 over the sine of A. Cross multiply and divide. So sine of A times 325 equals the sine of 107.3 times 189. Divide both sides by 325. So the sine of A is equal to 0.555230125. I'm going to do the inverse function. So I'm looking for an angle. And angle A is equal to 33.7265668. I'm going to round that to the tenths place, so 33.7. Now to find angle B, I could just take the two angles I have, I can add them and subtract from 180. So I can add 107.3 and then 33.7. Subtract from 180. And get 39 degrees, which is angle B. So now I was given the three sides. Just come up here. And then my three angles, angle A, 33.7 degrees. Angle B, I just calculated, that was 39 degrees. And angle C, I found that first when I did law of cosines, and that was 107.3. So again, when you have the side, side, side scenario, remember you're always finding the largest angle first. And then from there, it doesn't matter which two acute angles you want to find. Now, the homework has been modified on Canvas, so when you go to do the homework, just read the 5 problems that I've listed there. So remember to submit these completed notes to Canvas and then work on this homework. And both the notes and the homework are due on Monday. So actually the problems you're going to complete are numbers 19, 23, 27, 31, and 33. And again, it's listed on Canvas. Have a great weekend.